Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT math problems out of this book here, the official SAT study guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 655. Please turn to it. Page 655. Today is our lesson number 70. There are two problems on the second column there that you see, 17 and 18. Those are the two problems that we're going to do today. The two problems that you see in the first column, 15 and 16, we did them yesterday on day number 69. We're going to do 17 and 18. Let's take a look at number 17. In number 17, we are given a number line here. Let's see what we are told about the number line. On the number line above, there are 9 equal intervals between 0 and 1. So this is a tricky part, okay? You have to pay attention. From 0 to 1, one would expect that if you're going to divide them and you're going to put a tick mark, typically you would put 10 tick mark or 5 or some nice thing like that. They're dividing into 9 equal parts. Alright, fine. They want to be cute. They want to be cute, so let them be cute, okay? So there are 9 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Here's your 1. There are 9 parts. So now we know that 9 parts equal 1. Which tells us, that implies that 1 part must equal 1/9. In other words, from here to here is 1/9, not 1/10, is 1/9. What is the question asking? What is the value of x? And let's see where the x is placed, okay? So we have to count it, literally. Count it with your hand there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. X is sitting at the 6th tick mark. 6th tick mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is where x is. This is where, or rather I shouldn't say x, this is where square root of x is. They're getting cuter and cuter. So now we know that the square root of x equals 6/9. Why 6/9? Because one part we just learned equals 1/9. Therefore, 6 part must equal 6/9. That's all. Let's reduce it. This reduces to 2/3. So now we know that the square root of x equals 2/3. And they're simply asking what's the value of x. We're very straightforward. Take the square of both sides and we are done. If you take the square of both sides, the square root of x is just x. Square root of any number is the number itself, because taking a square root and taking the square, they negate each other. Taking the square root of a number and taking the square of it is like dividing some number by something and then multiplying it by the same thing. They negate each other. Multiplication and division negate each other. Addition and subtract negate each other. If I have 9 and if I add 3 to it and then I subtract 3 from the result, well, again I end up with 9. If I have 9 and if I multiply 9 by 7 and then I divide the result by 7, we end up with where we started from. So taking the square root and taking the square of something is that they negate each other. For example, the square root of 25. The square root of 25 is 5. And then if you square that result, you end up with 25. You end up with where we started. That's it. So therefore, the square of square root of x is just x. And that equals, and that we know from here equals the square of 2/3. Which is same as square of 2 over square of 3, which is 4 over 9. And that's our answer. X equals 4 over 9. That's it. That's it, we're done. 4/9 is the answer, and that's what we're going to grade in. Don't waste your time. Don't try to make it too complicated your life. Try to make it more miserable by converting into decimal. Just grade in 4/9. That's it. We are done with this one, okay? Let's go to the next one. Number 18. Number 18. Question number 18 says, in the xy coordinate plane, the distance between point A, which is given to us as x and 3, and point B is 10 and 18. And we are told that the distance equals 17. That distance equals 17. The question simply is, what's the value of x? As we can clearly see, this problem deals with the notion of distance formula. Now here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to go through the entire derivation of distance formula. I'm going to give you a source that I would like you to go to and watch the video to understand this notion of distance formula. Don't memorize the bloody thing. It's not necessary to memorize the damn thing. The so-called distance formula, once you watch this video that I'm going to tell you, you will understand and you will realize forever and ever that the so-called distance formula is nothing but a simple application of Pythagorean theorem. Distance formula is Pythagorean theorem incognito. It's Pythagorean theorem incognito, in disguise. Incognito was the word that we learned on day number 42 in our vocabulary lesson. So here's the video I would like you to watch. The video is, just type in geometry for SAT. Geometry for SAT. Day 9. Just type in this tag, geometry for SAT day 9, and outcome video that will have a distance formula in the title. Watch that video and understand the concept. As a matter of fact, if you're one of those people who are a little bit who is little bit weak in geometry, then it might actually, I would very much highly recommend. I would very much advise you to watch not just the day number 9, but the first 10 videos of geometry series. At my channel you will find some videos on geometry. If you don't want to watch all of them, at least watch the first 10, because in the first 10 videos is where I covered the basic concepts of geometry that you must understand thoroughly. Do you understand? So what is distance formula? Here's what's going on. You see, we have 2 points. We have point A and point B. Point B, let's put it here somewhere. Point B, this is our point B. Let's call it 10 and 18. This is our point B. And somewhere here is point A. Let's call it, this is x and 3. And our job is to find the distance between these 2 points. Watch what happens. Our job is to find the distance between these 2 points. Well, what we do is we make a triangle right there. We make a right angle triangle. This is 90 degrees. Can you tell me the coordinates of this point? Let's call it point C. Are you able to tell me the coordinates of this point? This point, point C, will have the same y coordinate as point A because they are at the same level. Because of the fact that it makes a 90 degree, it's at the same level, which means the x coordinate of point C is x. I'm sorry, the x coordinate of point C, let me start again. Oh, I misspoke, I wasn't paying attention. The x coordinate, let me start again. I was not paying attention at all. I don't know what the hell is the matter with me. The x coordinate of point C is going to be the same as the x coordinate of point B, because this line that you see here, line BC, is parallel. It's somewhere parallel to the y-axis. So however far from the y-axis here, this is our y-axis, from the y-axis, point B is 10 units away. And therefore point C is also 10 units away. Because of the fact that the line BC is parallel to y-axis. Similarly, let me draw this properly. Similarly, the line AC is parallel to x-axis. Line AC is parallel to x-axis, therefore whatever the y distance is for point A, which is 3 units, the C is at the same distance. So the y coordinate of point C is going to be 3. And that's what we need to understand. And the rest is downhill. The rest is very simple. All we have to do now is to figure out this distance. Let's call it D. By using Pythagorean theorem. Let's do that then. So Pythagorean theorem tells us that the square of the hypotenuse, which is d squared, equals the square of the other 2 sides. So if this is x and this is 10, how much is the distance from A to C? Let me put this x and 3 on the other side a little bit here. X and 3. So how much is the distance from A to C? If the x coordinate of C is 10 and x coordinate of A is x, the difference is 10 minus x. That's your x2 minus x1 that we talk about. So it's 10 minus x squared, which is the square of this side. And finally, and similarly, the vertical distance, let's put 10 and 18 a little bit on the higher, 10 and 18. And the vertical distance here, this vertical distance is going to be 18 minus 3. 18 minus 3. 18 minus 3. And this is where the so-called distance formula comes from, because typically we see this as x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. You see? Down, do you recognize it? That's it. The rest is very straightforward. So let's continue our work then. Let's continue our work. So d squared equals 10 minus x squared, 10 minus x squared plus 18 minus 3 squared. 18 minus 3 is 15, so 15 squared is, let's put down 15 squared for the time being. That's it. We just have to solve for, and we are told that the distance is how much? We are told that the distance is 17, so we can replace this d with 17. That's it. All we have to do now is to solve this equation for x, which is exactly what we're going to do on the very top. Now don't forget, geometry for SAT. Geometry for SAT, day number 9 is what you want to watch. I'm going to make a note here. Geometry for SAT, day 9. Let's continue this on the top. How much is 17 squared? Do you know? No, neither do I. So we're going to have to do it out. 17 squared, let's do it here. 17 times 17. 7 sevens are 49. So that's a 9, carry 4, and that's a 7 plus 4 is 11, and then 17. 289. 17 squared is 289 equals 10 minus x squared. Let's open this parenthesis. 10 minus x squared, we have to use the formula a minus b squared, which is going to be a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, except here our a is 10 and our b is x. So it's going to be 10 squared minus 2 times 10 times x plus x squared. That's what we're going to have. So this is getting into quite nasty actually. This is turning into a quadratic equation. What the hell? Actually, we don't have to do any of this. Okay? Forget it. We're gonna find a simpler route. I've changed my mind. We're not going to go that route. This is just going to turn into very nasty. Here's what's going to happen. This is 289. 10 minus x squared. We're going to leave it like that. 10 minus x squared. Just leave it like that. Don't open it. I've changed my mind. Plus 15 squared. Let's subtract 15 squared from both sides. 15 squared is 225. It is 225. Let's subtract 225 from both sides. When we subtract 225 from both sides, this 225 that you see here, 15 squared, is going to drop out, which was the whole point. It drops out, and what we find is that 289 minus 225 is 4. Oh, there you go, 64. 10 minus x squared. 10 minus x squared equals 64. Again, I need more room, so we're going to keep erasing as we need more room. So, if 10 minus x squared, if the square of some quantity is 64, this tells us that either 10 minus x equals to 8 or 10 minus x equals to negative 8. Why? Because this is 64. 64 is same as the square of positive or negative 8. I'm going to erase all of this. This is getting very crowded, and this is not getting us anywhere. And we're done with the picture. We don't need this anymore. This is much better. See, what's going on here is that 10 minus x squared, 10 minus x squared, 10 minus x whole squared equals 64, which is same as square of plus or minus 8. Because square of positive 8 or negative 8, when you square it, we get 64. Which means 10 minus 8 equals to either positive 8 or 10 minus 8 equals to negative 8. There are two scenarios. We're going to have to solve for both. Which is why if you pay attention, you will see that it says, what is one possible value of x? That tells you that there might be more than one. Of course there are more than one. We're going to solve for both of them. So if this is the case, if 10 minus x equals 8, you bring the 8 to this side and bring x to the other side, you will find that x equals to 18. Or we can have this scenario where we bring x to the other side did I do something wrong here? 10 minus 8 equals 8 and 10 minus 8 equals negative 8. Ah, this is wrong. I was taking too long, I was too hasty. You bring x to the other side. You bring x to the other side. And you subtract 8 from both sides. And what we find is that this x drops out and x equals to 2. X equals to 2 here. And here is where we're going to find x equals to 18. So there are two possible answers. X is either 2 or 18. As you can see, in both cases we get 64, because if x happens to be 18, then 10 minus 18 is negative 8, and negative 8 squared is 64. You see right here, negative 8 squared is 64. Or x could be 2, 10 minus 2 squared. 10 minus 2 is, sorry, x is 2 then. If x is equal to 2, then 10 minus 2, which is 8, 8 squared is going to be 64 also. So that's it. There are two possible answers, 2 or 18. Which one do you grade in? It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. You're going to get the same credit. You're going to get the same acknowledgement from the computer because they are both right answers. If there are more than one right answers, sometimes there are as many as infinite answer choices in the grading. All you have to do is just grade in one. Do you understand? If x happens to be something more than half, then anything more than half that you grade in will be accepted. We are done with this exam. This was our day number. Oh, actually, we are not done with this exam. We have one more sections to go. How did I know? By looking at the blackboard that we are not done with the exam? Because each exam takes 15 days. There are three math sections in each exam, and it takes me 5 videos to make one section, to finish one section. Therefore, 70 couldn't possibly have been the end of the exam, because it has to be multiple of 15. Multiple of 15 is 75. So we have one more sections to go in this exam, which is section number 8, which begins on page number 667. We'll start that section tomorrow. Okay? Bye now.